So, first things first, how are you?
Fine, I'm happy to be in Amsterdam. I mean, it's obviously a very special city to me for lots of reasons. I mean, my first Oxygene, the first Oxygene has been released outside France, was in Holland, in Netherlands, and everything started from Netherlands, even before the UK. And also it's a city linked with electronic music for lots of reasons, as we know. So lots of good links and good vibes.
Okay, very good. So, well, I want to get straight into it. Oxygene 3.
Yes.
When you started thinking about this project, did you listen to the original one a lot?
I didn't listen to the original one, to the first two ones. I just wanted to keep the kind of global feeling of what it was. The first Oxygene for me was interesting for different reasons when I look back. It was carrying this kind of sunny and dark paradox.
Sure.
The cover, but also the music. You had some very bright and melodic moments, but also some darker moments.
Sure.
And when I was actually working with Armin van Buren for Electronica, I did a track and demo, and I said, it doesn't really fit. Really fit Electronica, the project. And if I was doing Oxygene one day, maybe I should start by a track like this. And then I kept that on the back of my mind. And later on last year, when the record company Sony asked me about the 40th anniversary, I'm not too much into anniversaries, to tell you the truth, but I said it could be interesting maybe to use the 40th anniversary as a pretext to fix a deadline for me, and doing what I've done for the first one. I recorded the first one in 6 weeks, and doing it in 6 weeks in one go with a minimalist approach after this massive production of Electronica involving lots of collaborators and traveling all over the world, working in lots of different studios. I mean, it was quite a challenge for me to say, okay, I'm going to do in a minimalist way, using few instruments and having this guide and this kind of dark and sunny approach for a sequel. I love sequels in literature and movies, and you don't have so many sequels in music. I said it could be quite fun, and partly for Oxygene, which has no titles. It's just part one, part two, etc. And it's like chapters on the book. And I thought it could be cool to do it.
Well, a lot of things. So first 6 weeks, you're a very, very busy man, I suppose, because well, you mentioned the Electronica, so very busy. What made you go for that same routine, that same?
I think probably for changing as a contrast for the after Electronica involving a creative process with other people, which is really great, and I really encouraging people to do it, not like just sending files through the internet to people you never meet or you never even talk to.
Right.
Most of the time for marketing reasons than anything else, but really sharing creative process is fantastic. I mean, physically in the same studio, and I've been really grateful that so many great artists, I mean, from Armin to Massive Attack to Pet Shop Boys and Moby and Hans Zimmer and Boys Noise and Air and Gesaffelstein and lots of different people. I wanted to go back to something very intimate in a sense, and also in days where I think that we we have been through a period where. Sorry, we've been a period where we were constantly in zapping mode on YouTube, like 1 minute, 2 minutes, grabbing this, grabbing that on Beatport or whatever. And I think now we all need to have a different contact with music, with movies. I mean, nowadays we can spend an whole weekend with our girlfriend watching 3 seasons of Game of Thrones without sleeping over the weekend. And you know, we need this kind of suddenly going for a journey. And for me, Oxygene 3 is like a journey, like the first one, is like a journey of 40 minutes. And why 40 minutes is because actually I did the first one in vinyl days, right? And when I was unconsciously thinking about side one, side two, A side, B side, 20 minutes on each side. So actually Oxygene 3 has 2 sides. Because I really conceive it with side one being a dark side and side B being more a kind of more melodic, more sunny side.
And if you not only go back to when you did the first one, but with this Oxygene 3 as well, you mentioned the dark and light side. Do you have to be in a dark mood to compose the darker stuff and have to be in a lighter mood to compose the lighter stuff?
It's a very interesting question. I'm probably myself sunny and dark all the time, so it's not an effort. There. So it's there. What I suppose is when you are writing a book, suddenly you are dealing with characters. These characters are growing, and then it's hard to control them.
Sure.
I think it's the same thing with sounds. Okay. You create sounds. These sounds are growing into you, and then it's hard to control them. And what I wanted to express in Oxygene 3 is actually you have this kind of flow of different parts, and in between you have these kind of chaotic moments. Things that, like in life. I mean, we're together like this. We can go outside and we can have you can meet the love of your life instant, or you can be hit by a car, or it can be tragic, or you can be victim of a terrorist act or something really strong, bad or good, sunny or dark, and that is something that I wanted to express. In between these parts, suddenly you have things that are not fitting exactly, and I wanted to express this.
Okay, and when you when you started this whole process, this creative process, did it remind you of the 70s when you kind of started out and what your mindset was back then?
It's another very interesting question, because I think that an artist is always repeating the same thing all his life. It's just a declination of the same world. If you think of it, you take Miles Davis, you take Quentin Tarantino, they're all saying the same thing all their lives. It's the same movie, the same piece of music. It's just a declination of their world. And so I think I don't need to be back to the 70s. Okay. For me, Oxygene 3 in 2016, and I hardly didn't want to as I told you, to even listen to it. Okay. I even know now I didn't listen to it at all.
Well, why not? Have you listened to it in maybe the last 10, 20 years?
Oh yes, yes, it happened to me. Not necessarily by pleasure, because I don't listen. I think that when I've done my music, I listen to it so many times. Sure. It's like if it was not belonging to me anymore. It's like a child becoming an adult, and then they have to live their lives. But sometimes when I listen to it, I feel something familiar. But it's strange, because for me music is like an addiction. It's not. I think you are not doing music for an artist. Is not doing what he's doing for a real artist, for fame or for money or for recognition. You do this as an addiction. It's like a drug. You do this because you can't do anything else. And also you have this kind of mixture of frustration and hope. The frustration that every time you're not really happy with what you've done, and the hope that next time it will be better.
Well, in this sense, and we kind of touched upon this before we started, but do you still think the best music is still in you? The best music you can make is still...
I still hope so. It's the reason why I'm on stage tonight. It's the reason why that I want to do other albums, because I consider music like a kind of mirage in the desert, that you're obsessed by the kind of ideal piece of music you would like to achieve. Sure. And more you think you get closer, it's not there, and maybe it would never happen. You don't know, but it's the reason why that you have so many artists. Not only musicians, but writers, or if you are healthy, you can go forever. Because I'm just thinking now about this famous French painter called Pierre Soulages. I think he's 95 years old, and I saw a recent exhibition of him, and the last of his work, the last 10 years. And by far, I'm a big fan of this painter, and by far is the best work of his life. And you have that. I mean, you have this Spanish director Manuel de Oliveira. I mean, he died at 104, and his last movie, just before he died, is something like ethereal, really fantastic. So it doesn't mean that it's always like that, but I think that there is something different of being in the creative world and being in I don't know, the banking or
Sure.
doing other things. It's a different approach of life.